And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Today let's look at an older game, well, 6 years old anyway, and that is Battle Line by Dr. Rainer Knizia. Battle Line is produced by GMT Games. They're normally known as a wargame company. This is not necessarily a wargame, although it may feel like a wargame as you play it. It's simply a deck of cards and some markers. It's based on Shot and Totten. The main differences between this game and Shot and Totten are that this one adds some tactics cards to the game. But this is a very entertaining two-player card game. I like it quite a bit. Let me show you a little bit at how it works.
9 flags are placed in the middle of the table. Okay, they're red pawns, but whatever. We'll call them flags. Your goal is to control any 3 adjacent flags or 5 flags total. Each player is going to start with a handful of 7 cards, and these are troop cards. Each troop has a name, but we don't really care about the name. All we care about is the color and the number. There are 6 different colors, and the numbers go from 1 to 10, and so players will be doing their best to control each flag. And the way you do that is on your turn, you simply play a card, add a flag, and then you can draw another troop card, or you can draw a tactic card. Now, I will explain tactic cards in a bit. Let's just deal with troop cards. Players are playing these troop cards on both sides of the flags. And when one player has 3 cards in a flag, he cannot play any more flags to that section. There is basically the order of how you play the cards doesn't matter at all. So if you play a 10, 9, and then an 8, that still counts. If you play a 10, 8, and the 9, that still would count as an 8, 9, 10 as you play that. Once you've played 3 cards, if your opponent has also played 3 cards, you will then compare them to see who has the stronger side. The stronger side wins the flag. If you can also do that, let's say I put down 3 cards, and my opponent has only 2 cards, but I can prove using the other cards on the table that there is no possible way that they can beat me, I can also claim that flag. Now, which cards can beat which cards? Well, let's take a closer look at that now. First of all, we have basically just what I showed you, just a mismatch of cards. So here I have a 10, 9, and 7, and then that goes up against a 10, 7, and a 5. They're different colors. They don't really matter much at all. In this instance, this is called, I don't even remember what it's called, but I'll look it up in the rules. This is a host, okay? Anyway, in the host, so we just add up the totals, and whoever has the higher total wins. 19 plus 7, 26. 17 plus 5 is 22. We win. Woohoo! Now, in this case, though, if it happens to be a tie, then the person who played the last card loses. So you must be careful to watch for ties. They don't happen often, but they can happen, and they can change the course of the game. Now, any 3 cards can be beaten by simply putting down 3 cards that are consecutive numbers. For example, 3, 4, 5. A 3, 4, 5 will beat any host. Doesn't matter how high the host is. If you happen to have 2 of these going up against each other, by the way, these are called skirmish lines, then obviously the higher number will win. 7, 6, 5 beats a 5, 4, 3. But better than that is simply 3 cards of the same color. 2, 5, and 3. This is called a battalion order, and that will beat the 7, 6, 5. However, again, the higher number beats it. So a 10, 8, 4 will beat a 3, 5, 2. Better than that, though, is 3 of a kind. 3 numbers that are the same. So we have 6, 6, 6 here, beats 3 cards of the same color. It would also beat, as we continue to say, a 1, 1, 1, because the higher numbers win. But the highest thing of all, which beats the phalanx, which we just saw, is 3 cards of the same color and in numeric order. The 5, 6, 7 here on the one side, this is called a wedge, will beat the phalanx, but then again, and this is the highest combination you could possibly have in the game, and that's an 8, 9, 10 of one color. Again, you continue to play until one player has gained 3 flags or 3 flags next to each other, or 5 flags total. But I didn't mention these tactic cards. These tactic cards, these are interesting. You can draw these in your hand if you want, but you can only ever play one more than your opponent has played. So if I play a tactic card and my opponent never plays a tactic card during the course of a game, I can only play one. But if he plays another one, then I can play two, and that goes on. So if you don't like tactic cards, you can really hold your opponent to playing one, but if you love to play them, be prepared, they may play them back to you. Tactic cards can do anything you want, for example, but I mean, they can change the game. The game is perfectly fits in with the deck of cards, but these tactic cards can change things up. For example, this one says, play this card like any troop card, but define its color and its value not larger than 3. So this is a wild 1, 2, 3. Or deserter, take a card and on the opponent's side and get rid of it. Or Alexander, you can say whatever he's want, but you can only play one leader. There's Darius too. They're basically a super wild. Now, these cards can't be used to logically prove that something is going to happen, but they can come in really handy. Here's a wild 8, a companion cavalry, and here's a traitor. Take someone from their side to your side. I like these cards, but they don't swing the game as wildly as you might think. There's no real reason that Battle Line needs to be in this box this size. I mean, it's simply just a deck of cards and a few pawns. And you would be surprised, though, at how engrossing this is. Keeping cards in your hand, knowing when to play them. Do you want to commit too much at a flag? For example, let's say I get 3 threes in my hand. And I say, well, great, I can claim any flag on the board. But what if they have, 3 purples in a row? I don't want to play these too early. So I will watch what my opponent plays. Let's say he plays a 8 and a 9 of purple on the table. And I have the 6 purple in my hand. I now know that he cannot complete that one way, but he still might have that 10 purple. But if I see that 10 purple somewhere else, I now know that the best he can get is 3 in a row numerically, but not of the same color. And that is just what fascinates me about the game. Trying to play these cards, but looking at the board and figuring out what can possibly be played yet. Sure, there's luck in the draw, and the tactic cards add even a bit more chaos, but it's not nearly as much as you think, and sometimes that chaos can actually tend to balance out maybe a bad hand that you've drawn. But in this, there's no card that's bad. Yes, a 10 is better than a 1, but is it better than a 9? I don't know. I don't know. It's a very neat game. The card stock is kind of pathetically thin for this kind of game, but at least it has white borders on the inside. But as it goes, this is a fantastic, one of the best card games ever designed. If you can find a copy, I highly recommend you pick it up.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.